Ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump just obliterated the last remnant or the last person, one of the last people from the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld era of Republican politics in Wyoming. We'll talk about that in a second. But when you talk about Donald Trump and Liz Cheney, or Donald Trump versus Liz Cheney, and you talk about the Democratic Party, if you want to explain things in the manner that Democrats usually explain things, how they express themselves, you have to say the following. It is immoral. It is unjust. It is immoral. It was wrong. It should be something that weighs on your conscience if you side with Liz Cheney or the Democratic Party. Because they're the ones who want to send Americans, 18-year-olds, off to never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. There's no greater catastrophe. There's no greater Trump's tweets, his insults, nothing that they accuse Trump of having done, which always, if you look at mashed potato brains, Biden is worse during his administration. But nothing that they accuse Trump of having done is more despicable than sending Americans off to never-ending conflict. And the political party, or at least the Trump Republican, more of the populist Trump Republican political side within American politics, is opposed to the Rand Paul, the Jim Jordan, the Donald Trump, Kash Patel. These people are opposed to never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. Devin Jordan, opposed to never-ending military conflict. It is Democrats that not only wants a governance board to censor and to stifle speech and debate, which is the definition of Orwellian, but they worship intelligence agencies because they utilize these intelligence agencies to go after political opponents and then blame one country for all their failures and for everything wrong in the world. And then they say, well, Trump is extreme, but Liz Cheney is a good, sensible Republican. They say that the Lincoln Project people are good, sensible Republicans. These are the liberals. Don't you understand? These are morally superior liberal Democrats who, when it was Bush, for a moment, maybe a nanosecond, opposed the never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts and quagmires and conflicts and military interventions. You look at President Obama, what he did in numerous countries. You look at Bush, what he did in numerous countries. And you look at Trump. Who's the authoritarian? It's not Trump. If Trump is less militant, think, and I'm going to speak very slowly for wonderful, highly educated, morally superior Democrats who are just wonderful people. Think for a second. Use whatever's left of any critical thinking skills that you have. If Trump is against never-ending military conflict, and Democrats are for interventions. If Trump is against stifling speech, and Democrats are for censoring and suppressing and stifling discussion and debate and discourse. If Trump has a big issue and opposes intelligence agencies that are going after him, and Democrats essentially worship these intelligence agencies. If Trump every single day has to deal with a media that doesn't treat him in the manner they treat mashed potato brains, always goes after him with absurd headlines that are not just hyperbolic, but completely false in many cases. With a media that goes and runs stories based on current and former U.S. officials, hearsay, gossip, whereas they don't do that with mashed potato brains Biden. And a media that is basically running the Democratic Party narrative 24/7. Most of the media. So you have activists posing as journalists. Who's the authoritarian? Who are the authoritarians? Who are the people in this country that want to send Americans off to military conflict, stifle speech, and worship intelligence agencies? It's the Democratic Party. It's today's liberals. Morally superior liberals. It's not the Trump supporters. Hit subscribe to this channel. Hit subscribe to the stock market crash channel. Hit subscribe to the Bitcoin crash to 10,000 or lower channel. Those three channels are below, ladies and gentlemen. I'm growing all three to my new Patreons. My Patreon is below in the pinned comment. And ladies and gentlemen, become a member of this channel. We have an amazing, community here. And I'll have a live stream tomorrow in the day. Not exactly sure what time, but it'll be a lot earlier. So please be here for the live stream in the day tomorrow. Definitely be here for the live stream tomorrow. But ladies and gentlemen, you can look right here. Trump blasts Cheney for loving endless, nonsensical bloody wars. So he's right. This is why Cheney voted no on bringing our troops back home. You have Trump, who negotiated the Doha Agreement, okay, that Liz Cheney and really Biden was against. You have Democrats who wanted to keep Americans there forever. You have Democrats who would be willing to send Americans off to the geopolitical quagmire and crisis and nightmare in Europe that's taking place. You have to understand, you're talking to somebody, ladies and gentlemen, who I lost some very dear, wonderful friends only because they disowned me, because I voted for Trump. These people they have taken politics and turned it into dogma, like religious doctrine. They truly believe that Trump is the epitome of evil. They don't realize that the people they're voting for actually want to, they actually want to send Americans off anywhere in the world at a moment's notice to intervene in another country's state of affairs, to engage in endless military conflict. They don't care, though. You have to understand, the people who disown friends and family because of politics have convinced themselves that there are no good reasons to vote for Trump, when in reality, there are many more good reasons to vote for Trump or DeSantis in 24 and vote Republicans in 2022 than Democrats. You just look at the economy right now. As Democratic policies directly caused the inflation. You can't push to end economic activity 2 years ago and then say you want to decarbonize the economy after you've opened up the economy, like turning on the light switch of just turning on the light switch and saying, oh, economy's back on. You've obliterated supply chains, and by the way, Mashed Potato Brains is being sued by 14 states and oil and gas associations. And within the lawsuits, they're literally saying within the lawsuits that Mashed Potato Brain Biden's policies are causing the increase in oil and gas. Literally, they're saying that. And then Democrats are saying, oh, well, you know what? These companies are taking advantage of inflation. It's well, no, they lost money in 2 years ago because you obliterated supply and demand projections. And these industries are commodity-based industries where they need to, they can't just have demand that plummets because bureaucrats and unelected officials and the smartest people in the room say, oh, we have to end economic activity. It's for your own good. How many restaurants did you have in your city or state that are no longer exist now? Businesses. We had record low in unemployment, then 22 million people unemployed. And I talk about that in my Federalist article that predicted the stock market crash that we're seeing. And the Bitcoin crash, I've been telling you, and the stock market crash, I've been telling you since last September. In October, I was published in the Federalist of 2021. So I've accurately stated exactly what's taking place. But ladies and gentlemen, it is just using the Democratic Party, the Democratic voters' mind, it is immoral to vote for Democrats. It is immoral. It's unethical. It's wrong. It's unjust. History will judge you harshly. You have to understand the mindset. These are people who are okay with never-ending wars. They're fine with them. That's why they like the Lincoln Project. The good, morally superior liberal Democrats are actually okay with what President Obama did in Libya. They don't care. You could take Trump's tweets and what President Obama did in Libya, or what the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld people did to this world, and they'll be like, oh, well, Trump's tweets Trump is mean. So therefore, the endless wars that these people caused, whether it was President Obama or especially Bush and the Lincoln Project and Liz Cheney, that's not as bad as Trump's tweets. Or what, the latest headline that's completely butchered about Trump in Rolling Stone or Vanity Fair or Esquire. That's none of these headlines are in any way accurate. They're not even just a little bit of hyperbole. That's fine. This is like the headlines regarding Trump and what he did or what he's accused of saying. They're now attributing a paraphrase of quotes to Trump. Not even fabricated quotes, a paraphrase of things that they think he said that he meant. Anyway, give me your and then putting them in titles as if they're actual quotes. Ladies and gentlemen, he completely kicked any remnant of the Bush, Cheney, and Rumsfeld Lincoln Project out of the Republican Party. And for that, Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, in addition to being the first president to step foot in North Korea. Doha agreement that Biden completely botched. Those 13 Americans should be alive today. 100 Afghans should be alive today. Over 100 Afghans. You have to look at this economy and foreign policy is an absolute catastrophe. Trump, great foreign policy, great economy generally. Infinitely better than now. But he's mean. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. And be here for the live stream today. Thank you.